in a panic, we're in over our heads again. We know this is what we're meant to do. So we wake up, put our feet on the floor, go and conquer the day like a warrior, like warriors. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's right, that's right. No need to panic anymore. We got lots of support and an army of warriors by our side. We fight the good fight when we unite. We fight the good fight when we unite. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's right, that's right.
Hello. My name is Sondra Ray, and I want to welcome you to the Coffee Shop Show, where we talk to entrepreneurs from all over the world. And yes, I'm having a tad bit of a cold issue, but we're gonna make it through. I have water, and we'll be good. The guys are gonna help me. So today we're gonna talk about content marketing and inbound strategies. We all know we've been talking this bunch about marketing, digital marketing, all different ways of marketing, and we're just gonna keep building on that topic. If you've noticed, our topics always build on each other the last 3 months. So you can always go back if you've missed something and catch the replays, of course. But I want to introduce our expert today, Gareth Muller. Gareth, I just call him Gareth, owns his company does a little bit of everything, but marketing is one of the things he does. So he's going to give us some tips and tricks on content marketing and inbound strategies. How are you today, Gareth?
I'm good. Nothing really fantastic to say about it. Just a normal day for me. Yeah.
All right. Would you give us just a rundown on some tips, tricks that you've seen, used, all the things, whatever you want to tell us?
Yeah, I guess the first point that I'd start at is, I guess it can be kind of confusing with all the terms in marketing, like inbound, what is inbound marketing, what is content marketing. And really what inbound marketing is just a strategy that is basically, it's a type of strategy that focuses on a more holistic approach on getting your clients to become inbound clients, right? So it's instead of doing passive sales, you're doing active marketing strategies that bring clients to you by providing reliable, useful content, focusing on SEO, where the organic reach of your company grows, so that way people can find you a lot easier. They value the content you're putting out, and it's built around creating an environment where the people find you and enjoy your content, and naturally, if they enjoy your content, then they would be a good client for you. So it's a nice way to differentiate or to find your own market. A lot of the times people think that they have a market, but then they put their product out. The market they think that that would like it don't like it, and there's a different market that likes it. And you can do a few strategies within inbound marketing to make sure that you actually find your demographic, to find the age range, and all those other nice juicy things. So yeah, it's just a great way to, content marketing is a part of inbound marketing strategies. It's just one of the parts, but inbound focuses more on SEO and some other aspects of marketing, and not just content marketing. So content marketing, a good way to think of it, is just a part of inbound marketing. Yeah, I think that's a nice broad way to just explain the two, right? Yeah.
I love that. I love that that terminology. I don't think everybody always understands the different terminology. So, as far as, of course, content marketing is part of inbound strategies. So, you mentioned market research. What is the best way to do content marketing? Is it very much specific to your services, or is there like a general tips and tricks of content marketing? Because I know everybody has a say on what they think it is or how to do it. So of course,
there's definitely a lot of different schools of thought. For me personally, I enjoy and have always followed this company called the Radcliffe Brothers. They say it perfectly, which is that your brand is what other people say about you and not what you say about your company. I know I've said that to you many times, Sondra. So your brand's really what you put out there and what other people become to know you as. And that's how they're going to talk to other people. That's how they're going to think of you in their own mind. And so you want to make a marketing strategy, an inbound marketing strategy, and create content that allows them to create an opinion of you that aligns with the opinion that you want them to have, right? So marketing is kind of like this whole snaky thing, and a lot of people think that it's devious and manipulative, but it's actually really not. You're trying to reach an audience that is going to appreciate your kind of service or your kind of product the most, right? And the only way you can do that is by creating a brand around your product that speaks to the people that would benefit the most out of your product. So you're going to use certain strategies that talk about your service or your product in a way that reaches that audience. And it takes a lot of trial and error. You'll never get it right the first time. I don't think anyone's ever gotten it right the first time. But what I like to do is I like to start with a more broad net, which I call establishment, where you establish your brand to a cold audience, right? So that's an audience that doesn't know your brand. You're a relatively new company, or let's say you have a new product. Then in an established company, you'd want to start off with a broad net that speaks to people that might be generally interested in that product or service. And then you take the data from that initial stage and then fine tune your strategy in order to speak to them a little better, right? And that's again it's a systematic approach that takes a long time, but it's, at least in my opinion, a foolproof way of making sure you don't mess it up right in the beginning. So let's say you start off talking to 100,000 people. Out of those 100,000, you notice there's a certain demographic, there's a certain type of person that likes this new product or service. Then you start targeting them a bit more aggressively. You use terms that are common in those demographics. And then again, you just repeat that process to fine tune so that you're talking to only people that are actually interested in your service or product. And what's really nice about that is you remove the opportunity for the people that don't enjoy your product to waste their time or waste your time, right? Because that's another thing. When you're trying to market to everybody, then you're wasting your and everybody else's time. And then the people that actually might enjoy your product don't get to reach it. So yeah, it's a really important step of just, to me, it's a process that just makes a lot of sense. Take it systematic and slow, because then it's foolproof. Yeah.
I like that, systematic and slow. Like, I don't think it's ever a fast journey and you're gonna get there, once in a blue moon, you're gonna hit that perfect client right away, but it's very rare that you're gonna get them in that first, cast of the net, like you said. It's
a bit of science and a bit of magic at the same time. You definitely need to be creative, because you're gonna be, so if you and 100 other companies are all targeting the same kind of client, because you're not the only one that has the service that you offer. So again, I'm going to refer to Radcliffe Brothers on this one. They say that the only thing that's unique about you is your story. And so it's the only thing no one else can take away from you. It's the only thing that you have to share that is different from every other person that's offering the same service. And as a potential buyer, that's important to me. I have a lot of different brands of, let's say, ketchup that I enjoy, but there's one that I will always purchase above the rest. And that's because I have a connection to my childhood. I have a connection to what my parents say was the best. And there's a whole culture around it as well. And so for us in South Africa, that's All Gold tomato sauce, the biggest tomato sauce here. But as you guys know, ketchup. And that's because of their story, right? Everyone does ketchup, but not like they do it. And so you want to be that person for your clients. You want to be the person that connects with them on a level that no other company or service provider is connecting with them. And the only way you can do that is through a story. And someone will relate your story. There's so many people on social media. There's so many people in business. And you will find an audience. There's no such thing as no people that are interested in your service. Yeah, especially when you're working in a digital platform. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I love cred. I love that you were saying, that it's your story. So like you said,
Yes.
the emotional aspect of it. Like you said, the ketchup's tied to your childhood. It's tied to a good memory. Hopefully you're wanting things tied to a good memory. So I know with me, the reason I believe highly in goal accountability coaching is because it's worked for me. So losing 100 pounds, leaving my day job, becoming an entrepreneur full time, like that's what helped me do all those things. So I always say I live it, and I think that makes it more my story versus I'm going to teach some theory I learned in college, which is perfectly fine. Don't get me wrong. But I think it's a little more personal. And some people, I've had people complain and be like, well, you talk too much about yourself. And I'm like, well, that's because that's what I know. I know what has worked for me and how it's worked and for the people I work with. And that's fine if it doesn't. If you think I talk too much about myself, that's perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. So
yeah.
I would love to hear from everybody else what their experience is with content marketing, inbound strategies. Who wants to go first? Because I have no issues with picking people today. I'm Mr. Levy. Thank you for raising your hand. Good evening.
Good evening, Sondra. Nice to see you again. Gareth, thank you for sharing that. I loved it. I love the simplicity with which you broke it down to. And especially for someone like me who's really not too au fait with social media. I'm not talking about, I know how to go onto Facebook and LinkedIn and all that, but in context of what you were talking about. And that stood out for me was, as Sondra said it, I was writing it down, was systematic and flow. And the only thing unique about you is your story. And I think that really resonates with me. I just wanted to say to you is that maybe to where the content writers come in, because I've had I won't say a lot of experience, but experience talking to content writers and still trying to figure out what is it that they're going to do, and would they relate my story in such a way that the message gets delivered to the audience that I'm looking at, as opposed to just me doing it?
Well, I think that's a really good question first, Steve, because a lot of people want to just have someone else handle it, right? And the thing is with even with the best content writers, they're not going to be able to tell your story as well as you're going to be able to tell it. And so something that you could probably do to help them out is just understand your message yourself. If you understand your message yourself, and let's say you're working on a specific piece of content, understand what the purpose of that content is. And they should actually help you work through this process of understanding how to find that process, that purpose. But you want to say, let's say it's a simple purpose of reminding people to appreciate the time they have on Earth. I don't know why I went for philosophical there, but let's just say that's the purpose, right? Then you put a simple message, a very, very simple message. And that's how you start with it, is this is what I want to portray, right? This is the message. This is how it relates to me as a person. And then you tell the content marketers to do their magic with that. because that's, as long as you have the core of what you're trying to say, it's very easy to build content around that, because you're focusing on one thing. You're not trying to say everything in the same post. You're not trying to flood people with information. You have a simple message and you put a post out on that message. It's the simpler the better. If you think of some of the best social media posts that you've seen, or even if you go now onto your online and you look and you see what catches your eye, it will generally be something. It doesn't matter if it's a whole paragraph or a whole blog long, but the thing that catches you is a simple idea that resonates with you. And that's what you want to keep in mind, is keep it as one idea that can resonate with an audience, rather than multiple concepts trying to merge into one.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. It's interesting. And then, do you think is social media, and in general, do you think it's to attract and convert clients, or do you think it's more visibility and credibility based?
I think it depends on the field. I think any field can get clients from social media, but you do have to be a bit lucky with that. There's people think that social media is flooded. I don't think so. I think that's good that it's flooded, because it's more people. Even the people that they have their own company, they're posting on social media, they also might still need your help. I think that it's difficult to get to the position where you start bringing in clients, right? And that's why a content strategy and inbound marketing strategy is so important, and to have a plan as to why you're posting. Like you can have just, let's say, a maintenance task where every week you post, and that's really for visibility and trust. That's not going to bring you clients, but it does keep your online presence alive. It allows people to hear your name, go online and see you, and then they can trust you through that, right? Because they can see you, what you allow them to see naturally. But then again, in your marketing strategies, you should be very honest and open and vulnerable. That's a whole different thing though. But yeah, so it depends on the strategy that you use. If you're using a very passive strategy, then it's probably only going to help with trust and online visibility and brand recall, because that's also something people forget about. People want to be able to recall your brand, or you want people to be able to recall your brand. And then if you want to actually make sales, then you do have to go with a more aggressive strategy, where you're really targeting people's intent.
Okay.
But it's very good. It's probably one of the best. I think the only thing that's better than social media is email marketing, but you have to grow an email audience, and you can't do that very easily. So a good place to start is social media.
Awesome. Well, thank you for those clear, crisp answers. You really I love the way you bring it across, especially for someone like me. Who doesn't understand. I don't understand all the lingo, but thank you. Thank you for that.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Levy. Thank you, Gareth. Mr. L, come on in on the conversation.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Sondra. Hi, Mr. Levy, Gareth, and my dear friend, Hendrick. Last week when we spoke about, what is it? I'll tell you now, digital marketing. This term, SEO, came in. Okay. And it was like, I think the guest said, no, it was Kelsey. She said, no, I'm not an SEO specialist, and so on and so on. So like, let me not ask, what is this SEO? Now, today, Gareth, we're talking about content. I mean, last week it was about digital. It was about how important and the strategies on social media marketing and all that, or digital marketing, which is really social media. But then you've now come into the content side of it, where what do you do to keep your listeners or readers or followers engaged, so that they keep you top of mind. Now, I want to go back to ask you, what is this SEO? What does it do? I may know that it's search engine optimization, but exactly what does it do, so that, if we have to apply something like social media marketing, we know exactly where we are going. Thanks, Gareth.
Sure. Yeah. So social media, search engine optimization, SEO. It's kind of a big, scary topic for a lot of people, just because it is something you need to specialize in. You can do a bit of it by yourself, but you need a specialist if you wanted to perform you want to be on the top of Google search results. You need to put a specialist in place. So the basics of SEO, search engine optimization, is that you want to make sure that the content that you're making says the specific keywords that are going to talk to an audience. So it'll probably be easier to explain through an example. So let's say you have a radio station. So let's say you use your name, for example. Your name is a very good way to optimize someone's search results. Actually, that's a better place to start. Sorry, this is a big topic. Okay, so search engine optimization. If you have poor search engine optimization, when someone searches in Google for something that relates to you, you wouldn't show up. But if you have good search engine optimization, then when someone's searching on Google or other platforms, it's not necessarily just Google, it's any search engine. So Google, YouTube, TikTok, anywhere where they can search for public content and a platform that you're posted on, then you want to show up for the keywords like radio station in your area that you want to show up as close to the top as possible, because generally people are going to pick on one of the first 3 links that come up there, right? They're going to look at which one seems the most relevant and click on it. So the process of optimizing search engine results is making sure that the content that you put out is said in a certain way to make sure that the audience that is trying to find it can actually find it. So that's kind of a way to put it. There's a lot that goes in, so everyone needs to do search engine optimization, which means that there's a lot that goes into finding ways to say what you want to say in a different way than your competitors are trying to say it, but still reaching that same audience. So yeah, it's you can't just say radio station in your area. Every other radio station in the area is going to have those same keywords. So you really need to target down on the niche and the intent behind what someone might be searching. So one of the ways that search engine optimize your content is they'll think of keywords that resonate to your audience, or long tail keywords, which is really a phrase that people might search in their Google search bar. So if someone's looking for a specific kind of radio station or a specific kind of podcast or a specific kind of product, they would add those things to that search that search of theirs, right? So you don't just want a vacuum; you want a vacuum that has the ability to suck up water, so it's a wet and dry vacuum, and it must be a Dyson vacuum. And so you want to you add certain keywords to create a phrase that becomes very searchable and specific to your industry that wouldn't apply to other industries, so that when people are searching for content that's relevant to you, you show up above other companies. That's basically, simple way what search engine optimization entails. Does that make sense?
It does. It does make a lot of sense. So just a follow-up. The hashtags, do they help? Because especially on LinkedIn, you see a whole lot of hashtags, hashtag this, hashtag that, hashtag business coach, hashtag radio station, this and all that. So I believe it's another way of making sure that if people are posting about you or they're looking for something like that, the hashtag itself will lead them to your product.
Yeah, that's pretty right. The hashtags are almost like tags, really. So when you sign up for LinkedIn, right? You also any social media, they'll ask you, what are you interested in? And so you say you're interested in football, you're interested in cooking, and you're interested in finance. Then those are technically just categories, right? They're tags that get added to your profile so that you get shown content that aligns with those tags. And so as you go through more content, more of those tags are going to be added to your profile, but as you show interest in them. And so people that are interested in the hashtags that are relevant for your business would be shown the content that you're putting out because it's relevant, right? So if you want to reach people that are interested in, I guess you can pick any topic, you would add the hashtags relevant to that topic. And it's a bit different than SEO because there you do want to use the most common hashtags. The more, and a lot of social media platforms do actually show you what the search volume or the post volume of those hashtags are. So let's say there's a post on coaching, and coaching, that hashtag has, let's say, 2 million posts on it. Then that's a really good hashtag. You wouldn't want one necessarily with a very low amount of posts on it, because then the visibility of that hashtag is very low. So it works a bit different than search engine optimization, but it is still relevant, still part of it. Yeah, you need to make sure your hashtags are at least relevant, but also popular enough that you can reach a wide audience. Yeah. Cool.
Go ahead, Mr. Levy.
So yeah, sorry, if you just, while you're on hashtags that Lesetja asked about, is are the hashtags different for the different platforms? Say like Instagram, and if it's popular on Instagram, does it mean that it'll be popular on LinkedIn or not necessarily?
Yeah, not necessarily. In a lot of cases, your audience won't be on all three. Let's say you're talking about Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Those are the three main ones. A lot of people use Twitter as well, but those are the three biggest ones, I would say. A lot of the time, your audience is not going to be active on all three, especially business to business. LinkedIn is the top one. Facebook a close second, and then Instagram is really bad. Not really, really bad, but it's generally not the place you'd want to do business to business. But it's really good for products. And the hashtags are going to change drastically. So yeah, I wouldn't say that you should keep the same hashtags across all platforms. You should try and customize it per platform. Even the type of content you're posting should be customized per platform. Just because if you're putting out the same message on every single platform, then the message gets interpreted differently on Instagram than it does on LinkedIn. And the type of content that works on LinkedIn doesn't work on Instagram necessarily. Yeah, so your images might be different. You might speak, you want a shorter message on Instagram than you do on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, you can really go into long form posting. And then again, with the hashtags, they would definitely translate differently between the different platforms.
Oh, well, I was hoping you weren't going to say that. I thought I just got one right.
It depends. In some industries, it would go across. So perhaps in your industry, but in a lot of cases, you would want to just see how it's performing.
So if I can just quickly ask you, just so for example, if you took, say, coaching, or if you want to be more specific, business or leadership coaching, and if for example, I'm trying to think of a hashtag now that, so let's say commitment, and you looked on, just coming back to what you said, if you looked on LinkedIn, you could tell you it's got, like say, 12 million, I don't know if that's posts or view posts, that about it. How can you check that that's, because that's now quite a large number. Would it then be safe to use that on, say, a platform like LinkedIn, or must you check on LinkedIn how many posts that hashtag has?
I would definitely check on the other platform.
Okay.
Things that are trending on one platform don't necessarily trend on other platforms.
Okay.
Sometimes those results also get skewed because a trend can become very popular. On LinkedIn, it happens much less, but on, let's say, Instagram, a trend can become popular and it'll be flooded with posts because people obviously want to take advantage of that algorithm boost. But on LinkedIn, that happens much less. And so I would double check both to be safe, because that doesn't necessarily translate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So Mr. L's question is, do we have to vary the content on various social media pages? Which I think you kind of answered that we do, we should, because each platform has a different audience. So, you know, TikTok versus Instagram versus LinkedIn. I can personally say, FYI, Gareth is my social media manager, that we have definitely found that, you know, what's working on LinkedIn is not working on Instagram and Facebook. I get crickets on Facebook, but then LinkedIn, I had like 200 views the other day, like just same post or a variation of the post, but they did not work the same. Facebook, nobody gave a dang, which is fine. But LinkedIn, I got a lot of engagement. And so definitely knowing where your audience is, which is why we do the market research and all the things we've talked about in the past. LinkedIn's is business to business. So that's where I'm switching my focus higher to. We're testing the waters for a while, which is part of market research. And we figured out that that's where I need to be. But yeah, it was a variation of the same post, not a ton of variation, but enough. And yeah, quickly figured out that LinkedIn was going to work better with that than Facebook. Like no engagement in Facebook, but like I said, 200 on LinkedIn. So night and day difference. Mr. Al, come on in.
Yes, Sondra, while talking content, I think also the style of presenting it should vary as well. Because on LinkedIn, it's a very serious, as you say, business to business. You go to Facebook, it could be both ways, but you go to Instagram and now lately TikTok, it's in a very playful manner. You know, so you're engaging different kinds of audience, and I think I find the TikTok and Instagram ones are really very playful. You don't post anything serious, or even if you post a serious content, it should be in a very playful manner, in a very catchy manner. Whereas on LinkedIn, which I also use very, very much, it's more business style, you know. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, sorry, can I add on that? Yeah, so I agree with you, Lesetja, that you definitely don't want to be posting corporate looking ads on Instagram or TikTok. But again, from what I was saying earlier, I don't think that you should be doing that anyway, at all. I think that trying to connect with someone emotionally is always going to work better than a corporate post saying, "Hey, this is what I do. Call me if you need me." That's an ad. People get flooded with ads all day, every day. You don't need to be sneaky about it. You just come to them from a position that they can relate to, and then you build a trust through that. But yes, I do agree that even in saying that, you on LinkedIn, you still want to be a bit more professional than on Instagram and TikTok. And TikTok is great for visibility. I think probably the best for visibility, just because video is the king of content at the moment. Video is always going to be, but you can't put an ad into video unless it's a very creative, innovative ad that is not what other people have seen. And generally, everyone tries, and generally they don't get it right. You really need to put a lot of effort into creating something, and a lot of money into creating something that's innovative enough to really succeed as an ad on those kind of platforms. Yeah, I think even for business to business, just posting from even a personal account rather than your business account would get you better engagement on those platforms than posting from a business account. Because again, once they see it's a business, then it's an ad and not interested. They're there for entertainment. And while you can create good, what do you call it? Good relationships on those platforms, you're generally going to have a lot less luck building a business on those platforms because it's an entertainment platform. Yeah.
Thanks. All right, Mr. Hendrick. You didn't think you were not going to speak today, right? You said that when you started doing digital marketing, that things fell into place. Can you explain that a little bit?
Good evening, everyone. So with me, the topic actually around marketing as a whole is very fascinating, as it's something that I've always been interested in, to actually get as much exposure or experience in the marketing field as possible. And listening to everyone today, there are key takeaway points. For starters, it's very important in marketing to know what to say and where to say it. They've spoken about your business to business in some of these social media platforms, and also client to business or individual to business. And then also that actually made sense because personally, the business that we're in, or the business line that we're in, it took us over 5 years just to market the business, where we were seeing potential clients, explaining to them what we do, and then just hoping that one would give us an opportunity at one stage. And then after that 5 years, the first opportunity that we got led to another one, because now it started being referrals. It started being this particular client telling the other client. So in our field, it's more the marketing is actually about the quality of work, more quality work than being available or being seen on these social media platforms. So the moment you do or you give someone quality service, they will refer you to the next client. The recent client that we're busy with, we started with them last year around March, just to market ourselves. And then we started getting our job. I think we started working there around August, September. It was supposed to be a 6 weeks job, and we're still there even today, because after the first job, they actually got to a point of saying, actually, we can give you even this, and then this, and then this. Yes, there were challenges along the way, when I did mention at one point that one of our contracts was terminated by this very client, but they actually said, no, come back and do this. So we went back to building again that trust. And this is due to the fact that the quality of work we've given them previously was enough for them to say, we can work with these guys going further. So in our space, the service space, where safety and quality is prioritized, or in our industry where I believe safety and quality is prioritized, people want to work with someone that they think they know can do the job, instead of telling them that I can do the job. They want to see that you've done the job previously. So those are the more we speak about this marketing, then the more I get to understand as to, okay, actually our point of contact or our way of marketing should be focused on this way instead of this particular way. So thank you for this topic. That's Hendrick from Teresano Earth Movers, your lifting and rigging specialist from Mpumalanga.
Thank you, Hendrick. I always enjoy hearing your perspective. So Gareth, would referrals, affiliates, that's considered inbound strategy, right? Like having referrals, having a referral system. Like I know we've talked about, of course, social media and email marketing and SEO, but like referrals and even having your own affiliate program, those are considered inbound strategies, correct? Am I using the terminology correctly?
I think, yeah, you could consider them as part of a inbound marketing strategy, and not the inbound marketing strategy. So it would be part of the pipeline, right? Just like content marketing is part of the pipeline of an inbound strategy. Let's say in this scenario, you want to be targeting people. You're working in a business where referrals are your main source of bread and butter, let's say. And so you would want to build in this strategy, where one that's really good for referrals is to build a lot of trust through the social media posts that you're online, a lot of the content marketing you do online. You want to not give away, but give people access to a lot of the information that you have. I don't think you should gatekeep information. Giving it to them freely allows you to be seen as someone that is trustworthy in that space. Anyway, whole different topic. But yes, you're basically nurturing the kind of client you want, and the kind of client you want is that referral client. Is that client that has connections in the space and can then refer you to other clients. And again, those clients are also going to look you up online. They're not just going to take the referrer's word for it. Sometimes, sure, they will. But a lot of the times they're going to be curious. And they're going to want to look at you online and see what the kind of quality of work you do, see what you're doing, who you are, what you're about, and get that kind of feeling within themselves. And the only way they can get that is by seeing what you are online. So I think just on this topic and what Hendrick was saying, it brings up a good point of a lot of they don't see the outcomes of marketing, because a lot of the time it looks like you're pushing such a hard budget into it, and you're putting so much time into it, and you don't get direct clients from it in a lot of the cases. But a lot of the time it's a big decision maker for the clients that you do get. They might not say to you directly, I'm coming from social media, unless you ask, but a lot of the time they would look at you online and form an opinion of you online and understand what other people are saying about you online. So it's very important to have an online presence and inbound marketing strategy to help them form that opinion of you. And if you have an inbound marketing strategy, then they would, even though they've been referred, they're being drawn towards you through the content that you're putting out, right? Because you're creating that kind of environment where you are the solution. So yeah, I'd say that referrals are kind of part of the strategy, but more as an outcome rather than as a step that you can actively take. You can't actively, unless you have an affiliate program. Other than that, you can't really actively build referrals without just the general process of building trust and relationships between people. So it's an outcome rather than a step to take, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. I know even with my coffee chats, I'll look at people's websites and social media and stuff, and I'll be like, hey, did you know this link doesn't work or this or that? And they'll just be like, oh, thank you. And I'm just like, yeah, because I don't know, it just makes me feel good that I can like check on their things and see what they're about and, what do they do before I meet with them. And it takes like 5-10 minutes. But yeah, if, are they on anything or they're not on anything? And I think sometimes somebody can refer you, but if they can't look you up at all on anything, then yeah, how are they going to get to know you? And I've unfortunately seen people like get scammed that way. Like there's a shell out there of something, and then that's not who they truly are in the background, and take money and stuff. So I do think it's definitely, like you said, a way for people to learn about you and your reputation online. So yeah, that is a good way.
So I just wanted to add another thing that I keep forgetting, but I want to add it because it's important. Is my philosophy on marketing in general is so product marketing and business marketing, service marketing are two very, very different monsters. But for service marketing specifically, it's really, the goal is to warm the audience, right? It's a tool. You want to go from having a cold audience that doesn't know you to a warm audience that knows you and is ready to become a client. It's going to be very difficult for them to take that step on their own, but it allows you to warm the audience so that you can reach out to them. And now they've heard about you. They know what services you offer, and they're ready to, they have an idea in their mind if you're something that they would be interested in, right? If your service is something they'd be interested in. And so it's really about warming the audience. I think that's the ultimate goal for service, is just keeping it warm so that you can, it's a tool, so that you can come in and then make the sale, right? So it's a really good assister for salespeople. But for product marketing, it's much easier to make a sale because you can, through social media marketing, than with services. So I just wanted to make a differentiation between those two. That's a good one to keep in mind. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Levy.
Yeah, Gareth, I just wanted to see, I don't know if anybody else has picked this up, but it's something that I've noticed is that even especially on LinkedIn, because it's one of the places I spend more time there than any of the other platforms, is it has taken on a bit of a more personal sort of, I don't know, what can I call it, dynamic to it, if that's the right word, to it, where you're
Yeah.
seeing a lot more of those personal stories that you never saw before on LinkedIn. It seems to be quite noticeable, well, certainly for me. And so does one, you need to take that into consideration when you're doing your marketing on LinkedIn, because now the dynamics changed slightly?
Yeah, I think I don't know who started the trend of, to be exact, I don't think it was a single person, but
Okay.
I think something that you'll see a lot on every platform is the big corporate companies are trying to seem personable, right? The way you do that is by talking about personal stories. You show vulnerability. And it's a lot of the places where small businesses struggle is they're trying so hard to seem like a big company that they end up sounding very corporate, cold, and uninteresting. And a lot of the big companies have already gone through that phase. They've spent the budget and spent the time to understand that that's not a good way to connect with an audience. So what they do now is they introduce personal stories, even in a business setting. They'll be relatable as a person rather than as a company.
Yeah.
Or they'll talk about, here's the downfalls, these are the mistakes we made last year, and really show vulnerability, that they make mistakes and they try and fix it too. Because, connecting on what I was saying earlier, is just connecting on a personal level is always going to be stronger than saying, we're this big company, you should trust us. So, as a small company, you should follow suit of be an individual rather than trying to seem like you have it all together and you're this big corporate company.
So even that personal story that might not, I'm talking like personal, not even related to your business. So just, experience this. I just noticed that come up a lot. Just asking around it. I don't know what the answer is. So happy to.
Yeah, so
Interested
it's really,
to.
it doesn't have to be even, not everything needs to be an ad. Not everything needs to be selling your service. Those kind of posts, they are still selling your service because you're creating a connection. And what's stronger than an advert that says, hey, I do this service, even if you add a story to it, I would say that adding that, so you have this whole personal story and then you add at the bottom, connect with me and I can help you fix your problems, is it diminishes the impact of that ad, of the personal story that you just said, right? You're like hoodwinking the client by saying, here's this whole personal story and now I'm going to help you. So if you just saying that, just having them read your story and connecting with you or relating to you even, and leaving it there is much more powerful and impactful than trying to end it off with a sale or trying to end it off with a referral or something like that. So, and people realized this a long time ago. And so the big companies, at least. And so a lot of the times in the big companies, you'll see a lot of the big companies and the ads that they use are maybe just a single sentence or a single word with a powerful image.
Yeah.
There's no sell to it. It's just you're making someone think about you and thinking, if they're thinking about you, that's a good thing for you. So it's about connecting on a more personal level. And that's going to do far more for you than a post that says, hey, I have this service, call me if you need me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks. So that call to action must be very strategically done then.
It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be a call to action on a story. It's just, here I am.
You do a post. If they're interested, if you connected with them, what they're most likely going to do is go look at your profile, which then you'd have your links in your profile, right?
Yeah.
Or you'd have other posts that can have links in it that they can find you on. But you want to generate enough interest with that post that they want to look at your profile, and then they would go through a funnel to find all the other platforms, right? So you generate interest in yourself that makes them take action rather than telling them to take action. And it's a lot stronger. They're generating the idea from themselves. You're not putting that idea in their mind. They want to find out more about you. And that's exactly the kind of client you want.
Wow, thank you. Insightful.
Good.
Okay, my unmute button is not wanting to work. 4 times clicking it. Thank you, gentlemen, for talking about this topic. I think that, yeah, there is so many opinions out there, and everybody has their thoughts or their ways or whatever. And I think talking to people as experts is a great way to talk about the topic. And of course, we're being very general because we want to reach all small businesses. So you can always reach out to us. Our LinkedIn links are in the show descriptions. So you can always reach out and have a one-on-one conversation with Gareth or Mr. Levy or Mr. L or Hendrick or whatever, and myself to get to know us. And if you have questions about the topics, or leave comments on the YouTube show or anything like that. Gareth, what do you want to give your last tip of so we can wrap up?
Yeah, I think just what I've been saying the whole meeting is just be yourself, right? Be open, honest, and truthful in the message you're putting across, and it will find its audience. If you're trying to come at it from a sneaky perspective or trying to trick people into it, they're savvy to that these days. They can see manipulation, and they're quick to call it out. So just be honest and post what resonates with your product, and test it. It takes a while. Test it, see what people like, and don't be scared to experiment. Yeah, as long as it's truthful and sincere, you'll generate a truthful, sincere curiosity in the audience that you're posting to.
Thanks, Gareth. Oh, and tell us the name of your business, of course.
Stitches Design. We do web
Yay.
design and brand strategies. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you for coming on the show today. I didn't have to twist your arm too hard. So thank you, Gareth. We want to thank Susan, who does our show notes. She does our covers for YouTube. And then, of course, she turns our live show into a podcast on Spotify. So make sure you follow us on Spotify. And, of course, share, and watch everything so that we can, of course, reach more people all over the world. As Nestine, one of our founders, says, we wish your wildest entrepreneur dreams come true. We will see you next week, same time, same place.